She shattered my world with a slap and a lie, stole my name, my future, and left me with nothing but silence. 5 years later, I returned not for revenge, but for balance, the kind that comes quietly, wrapped in ruin, and ends with mercy. Instead of malice, she slapped me across the face, hard open palm deliberate. The room fell silent, her birthday dinner, her friends, her family, me red-cheeked and exposed under the soft chandelier light. I didn't say a word, I just stood up, straightened my jacket and walked out. No suitcase, no protest, no goodbye, just vanished. 5 years ago, I thought I knew her, Elaine, sharp-witted, confident, radiant, in that way that pulled eyes wherever she walked. I loved her like a man drowning in a storm loves the raft that saves him. She said I was her calm in the chaos. I believed her. We built everything together. Late nights planning her fashion boutique. I cashed out my inheritance to fund it. We didn't have a prenup. I didn't think love needed one. I should have known. The slap wasn't random, it was calculated, like she wanted an audience. Later, I learned it was her way of ending the show, a humiliating final act. What followed were whispers I didn't get to defend myself against. She told them I'd cheated, drained her savings, hit her, none of it true. I slept in a rental car that night. The next morning, I wired what little I had left into a new offshore account under a shell core I'd quietly formed the year before I changed my name. Cut off all contact. I didn't fall apart. I sharpened the truth, unraveled slowly over 3 agonizing months. A mutual friend, Mike, the only one who doubted her story, sent me photos, her in the arms of her silent investor, her lawyer, her lover too. Months before the slap, she transferred every asset from our joint account into one under her name. The slap wasn't revenge, it was closure. Her closure, mine, would take longer. First year was hell, but pain, when fed carefully, becomes discipline. I took jobs under aliases, waited tables, cleaned floors, listened, learned. I taught myself corporate law, forensic accounting. I moved city to city, building a web of contacts. 2 years in, I bought a small cybersecurity firm under a different identity. Grew it, sold it, invested in startups, acquired their debt, flipped companies. By year 4, I was silent money behind a chain of real estate ventures stretching from coast to coast. Year 5, I got the invitation, Private Wealth Society elite members. Retreat, Fairfield Estate, hometown. I almost laughed. She would be there. I knew it. That crowd was her drug. Old money, new money, fake smiles with sharp teeth. I accepted the moment I landed. My phone buzzed. LA Beaumont, local fashion entrepreneur and former socialite, was found bankrupt and under investigation for fraud. Boutique chain assets were frozen, and alleged shell companies were traced back to offshore accounts. My driver turned to me, rough week for Mrs. Beaumont. I smiled, couldn't have happened to a better person. Didn't recognize me at first, not with the beard, the Italian suit, the new name, but the eyes gave it away. Her face went white. I was seated across from her at the estate's long banquet table, almost poetic, the same arrangement as 5 years ago, only this time I was the guest of honor. Luca Brandt, the host, toasted serial investor, tech whisperer, the man who bought half of T's Group in a single weekend. T's Group, the shellcore that acquired her boutique's parent company 2 years ago. She lost everything and never saw the knife. When she cornered me after dinner, she looked like a ghost. It's you did this. I leaned in, calm, quiet. You destroyed me. No, I said you did that. I just gave you the rope. She trembled, but I wasn't done. I slid a thin folder into her hands. Court documents, evidence trails, tax violations, all sourced legally, all orchestrated patiently, all pointing to her signature. You signed it all. Every deal, every loan, every fake transaction. I just made sure someone was watching when you did. Her voice broke. Why? We could have fixed things. I stepped closer. You shattered me in front of everyone I loved. You stole my name, my money, my dignity. This was just balance set. Woe. Days later, the story broke. News outlets flooded with details. Her designer friends dropped her. Sponsors pulled out. Turns out people who thrive on image don't survive disgrace. I walked the streets of my hometown. That night, hands in pockets, coat flapping in the cold wind. No victory laps. No applause. Just silence. Just peace. Some scars don't fade. I see her handprint sometimes when I close my eyes, but now it doesn't sting. It reminds me of the man I became. The one who waits, the one who plans, the one you never see coming. Revenge isn't loud, it's a whisper in a boardroom, a signature on a contract, a man you thought you erased, buying your downfall one piece at a time. Weeks passed, and I watched from afar as she disappeared from the circles she once ruled. Stripped of fame, stripped of wealth, stripped of illusion, she moved into a modest apartment in a neighboring town, took a job as an assistant in a retail outlet. I could have ended it there. Could have walked away. But some ghosts need to be laid to rest. I visited her store unannounced, stood at the counter and waited. Her eyes met mine, empty, no fire, no anger, just acceptance. She didn't say anything, neither did I. I placed a wrapped box between us, no words, just a gesture. She opened it. Later inside, she found the deed to her grandmother's cottage, the only thing she had ever truly loved, untouched, unclaimed, held by a trust I had quietly maintained in her name. Not all revenge ends in ruin. Sometimes it ends in mercy, because the past doesn't always need to be destroyed. Sometimes it needs to be buried with care. I walked away that day, not as a victor, not as a villain, but as a man who had faced every storm and learned when to strike and when to let go. The silence behind me was different this time. Not cold, not cruel, but final and freeing. Moral and life lessons true. Strength isn't just in seeking revenge, but in knowing when to let go. Pain can shape you or destroy you. The choice is yours. Mercy, when earned through resilience and wisdom, is more powerful than vengeance. What defines us is not how we are broken, but how we rise, rebuild, and ultimately release.